Welcome back to Yokohama, 3 months after the shocking incident in Hamatora Season 2. Things seem calm at Cafe Nowhere, but Murasaki and Hajime are back on the case. Meanwhile, an unexpected reunion leads Art to hold Nice at gunpoint. What are Art's real motives? And what will happen to the bond between Art and Hamatora? Get ready for more mysteries, action, and suspense. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more. The members of the detective agency operating out of the Nowhere Cafe in Yokohama are mourning the loss of their comrade Nice, who is believed to have died in riots 3 months earlier. When a new client approaches them with a case involving a stalker, Hajime steps in to fill Nice's role and forms Hamatora Mark II with Murasaki. Their work is disrupted by Hikaru, a minimum holder who quickly becomes famous, and after receiving a job request involving a murder, Hajime and Murasaki instead become Hikaru's bodyguards, hired by his producer. They soon discover that Hikaru is surrounded by several obsessed girls, but refuses to either accept or turn them away. One evening, Hikaru allows himself to be vulnerable to an attack by one of the girls intent on killing him, but Murasaki intervenes. The girl then rallies a gang of thugs jealous of Hikaru, and a fight breaks between them and Hajime and Murasaki. During the fight, it's revealed that Nice is actually alive, and he returns to help, having discovered that Hikaru's producer wanted him dead. After defeating the attackers, they head back, and Murasaki tells the girls that he was wondering, even though she has the light speed millennium, she doesn't seem to move at the speed of light. The girl agrees and explains her ability isn't moving at the speed of light. She just bends light to change people's perceptions, and even her face is something she created with her ability. She thought she would lose everyone if she showed her real face, so she thought she'd hurt them. That was just her being disrespectful to them. However, she was wrong because people go deeper than skin. At the Nowhere Cafe, the group cheers in celebration of Nice's recovery and return. Honey cheerily says they can finally stop putting on that horrible act now. Hajime returns Nice's headphones to him, but he explains that he already bought some new ones. Murasaki reminds Nice that he told him to stay at the hospital, but he just doesn't listen. Nice seriously remarks that he couldn't just stay still because he has started making his moves. Meanwhile, Art slowly approaches Hikaru and remarks that he is the one who collects sins. Talk about being a serious edgelord. At the Nowhere Cafe, Nice and his friends think about what happened 3 months ago when Art tried to kill Nice by shooting him twice, though Murasaki managed to escape with him. Meanwhile, Reichio and Birthday set out to find their missing friend Chiyu, who vanished around the same time. Their search leads them to a club filled with minimum holders, where they discover Chiyu has been hiding. In another part of the city, Nice and Murasaki reach out to Officer Kasuke and learn that Hikaru has been injured and is recovering in the hospital. Meanwhile, Hart forcibly enters Facultas, a minimum holder academy. Nice and his friends follow Art, who begins attacking students, declaring that their abilities are sinful. Man, this guy really likes his sins, doesn't he? Facultas instructor, Paper, confronts Art and attacks him using his minimum. However, Art remarks that he didn't expect he would be the one to take on his inheritance. He suddenly injects himself with some strange fluid, completely healing himself. He swiftly uses Hikaru's minimum to deceive Paper and steal his ability before remarking that he will retreat for now and disappearing. Later in the infirmary, Paper realizes he doesn't shine anymore and can't shine. Nice wonders what Art is trying to do and admits he doesn't know what he's thinking. Art confronts a samurai who wields the wind minimum and steals his power. Meanwhile, at the Nowhere Cafe, the Hamatora group and their friends discuss how Art's victims, despite losing their minimums, are acting more positive, as if their lives have improved. Nice compares it to the feeling of relief after losing a wallet, and recalls how he once told Art at Facultas that he wanted to use his money to live freely. Later that night, Kasuke is tasked with transporting a minimum holder named Samura, whose artwork forces people to commit murders. On the way, they are confronted by a group protesting against minimum holders. Samura steps out of the car, his half-naked body covered by a painting that influences the crowd scene, which Nice and the others prepare to step in. With Honey that Art has arrived, though she suddenly suffers from amnesia. When Art appears, he soaks Samura in water to neutralize his powers and faces off against Nice. Art tells Nice that there are a lot of things he still doesn't understand, so Nice rushes forward to attack. But Art kicks him away and remarks that having control of light means having control over your sight. He tells Nice that his minimum's range is 5 meters, so if Art misleads him into thinking he's closer, his fists will never reach him. It's as simple as that. Nice gets into an offensive stance and remarks that he will just need to punch further out. However, Art declares that his minimum's weakness is that he has a clearly defined range. Nice rushes towards him to attack, but Art catches his hand and says this is checkmate. However, Murasaki appears from above and declares that he will not be taking their king. Birthday and Ratio intervene as well and swiftly electrocute Art and punch him from the back. They tell Art to remember that the most dangerous moment in a chess match is right before checkmate. He says he understands that right now he's not enough and decides to retreat. How many more times is this guy going to retreat before he finally takes the Doyu Mice? Later, it's revealed that Gasuk's new partner was a traitor who leaked Samura's location to an unknown person. In his hideout, Art takes his own life, knowing his minimum will regenerate both his body and life. Meanwhile, Honey learns from her comrades that she lost her senses the previous night while using her minimum. She skeptically tests her powers again, only to experience a side effect that causes her to act like a child. Later, Honey receives a request to be a bodyguard from her father, Doctor, a consultant for the Minimum Agency's medical department who has been tracking stray holders. However, Doctor cancels the job, and an irritated Honey recalls how her father once wanted to take advantage of her abilities for assassination missions. Worried about Doctor's intentions toward holders, a group called Freemium kidnaps both him and Honey. 3 receives an alert from his partner and, along with Nice, Murasaki, and Hajime, sets out to find them. Honey eventually uses her minimum to send 3 her future location, but this causes her to revert once again. 3 activates his own powers and rescues both Honey and Doctor just before their car is destroyed. Meanwhile, Birthday and Ratio finish their jobs but experience side effects from their minimums. In the end, Nice, Murasaki, and Hajime are given the culprit's location, only to be stopped by Art. Nice tries to confront Art, but the side effects of his minimum prevent him from fighting. Taking advantage of this, Art escapes with Freemium to their club, where he discusses forming an alliance with them. Art declares that he wants to become their leader and help them achieve freedom, requesting their help in return. Meanwhile, Gasuk reaches out to Ratio and Birthday, who have also begun experiencing side effects from their minimums. 3, too, starts losing control of his body, and as Gasuk investigates Seikyo, he discovers an incident from 3 years ago involving minimum holders from facultas and its link to Seikyo. While filling a job for Birthday, Murasaki briefly suffers physical weakness and warns Nice about the growing issues within their bodies. That sounds kind of freaky, to be honest. Art, along with Freemium, launches an attack on a prison holding minimum holders, but Gasuk confronts them. The Freemium holders overpower Gasuk, just as Nice and Murasaki arrive at the scene and look up at the building. They hurry towards the building as Gasuk tries resisting, but is overpowered. He's hit by the mass-amplifying millennium, making him weigh many times more than his normal weight. A man slowly steps towards him and remarks that it's a tragedy that they must sacrifice skilled people. Gasuk starts heavily struggling due to the pain, and Art arrives to see him lying on the floor dead. He wearily calls for Art and says there's something he has to tell him. However, before he can say anything, Gasuk dies and Art sees that he carries the same gun as him. Later, reinforcements arrive and hurriedly transport the injured as Murasaki hurriedly tells him to hang in there. Almost dead, Gasuk asks why he won't tell him, but he can't seem to say anything sensible and dies. Murasaki hurriedly calls for reinforcement as Nice leans against the wall in shock and sadly remarks that he can tell Art's crying right now. He makes up his mind and declares that he can't forgive Art for putting himself through this. He says he doesn't care what Art is thinking and vows to stop him. After Gasuk's funeral, Nice and his friends begin investigating the attack on the prison for minimum holders, determined to find Gasuk's killer. Nice and Murasaki meet with Mao, a local information broker, who reveals that Gasuke had contacted him to gather information about Stakio. Although the culprits erased much of the evidence, the group manages to uncover a video showing members of Freemum. They head to the club to confront them, only to discover that Freemum has already left. As Nice leaves, Murasaki experiences an internal struggle, admitting he hates his own weakness for always relying on Nice. Art then approaches Murasaki, and Murasaki remarks that he wants to join him. At Art's hideout, Art quickly realizes that Murasaki is only using him to help Nice. He lets Murasaki beat him up, with Freemum filming and leaking the footage. When Murasaki shoots Art, Freemum's Ishigami Shunichi remarks that there are two reasons why facultas couldn't uncover his ability. One, the minimum central nerve typically found in the brain was not present in Art's. He admits it's weird when everything else in his body suggested he was a minimum holder. He lacked the central nerve. However, the answer is simple. His central nerve lay elsewhere and second. Art's trigger was located in the same place as his central nerve. Ishigami slowly raises a dagger and declares that what makes Art worthy of becoming the savior of minimum holder lies within his chest. It is not a small miracle. It is the power of a go. He suddenly stabs Art through the chest and activates his regeneration minimum, presenting him to the public as their savior. He steps forward and says the Advent ritual is now complete, so the followers hurriedly call for death to the fool who wronged their god. He slowly bows in front of Murasaki since they have their god thanks to him. Wow. This guy got really messed up due to a literal god. Meanwhile, the others are worryingly waiting for Murasaki at Cafe Nowhere. They suddenly hear something outside and open the door to see a duffel bag lying in front of them. Worried, Nice slowly unzips it, finds Murasaki's body lying inside, seeing which he angrily starts screaming. After realizing Murasaki is still alive, the master of Nowhere Cafe calls an ambulance to ensure he gets medical treatment. Murasaki recovers, but it's revealed that he has lost his minimum ability. Birthday, Hajime, and Kaneko try to comfort him, but they unintentionally worsen things, accidentally throwing him off his bed, and Birthday even tries to revive him with electricity. Later, Theo and Rai visit with new glasses for him, but they too cause more trouble. Honey and Three bring weapons to help him make up for his lost minimum. Meanwhile, Freeman members appear at the hospital for unknown reasons. When leaving Murasaki, Honey, Three, Komeko, and Birthday get lost and are haunted by what they believe to be a ghost. They are rescued by Master, who reveals that the ghosts are actually former minimum holders attacked by Art. Nice arrives later with food for Murasaki, but, like the others, accidentally knocks him out of bed. Later, Moral's former assistant, Momoka, approaches Hajime and accuses her, saying it's all her fault. Momoka invites Hajime into her limousine, promising to reveal details about her forgotten past. When Nice realizes that Hajime has left with Momoka, he becomes anxious and heads out to find her. In the limousine, Momoka explains to Hajime that she possesses a power that nullifies minimum abilities, which caused Murasaki to lose his power and others to experience side effects. Momoka then leads Hajime to a basement where she is attacked by berserk individuals with enhanced muscles, whom Hajime recognizes as test subjects from facultas. Hajime recalls being the only person unaffected by the experiments and being kept in a cell until a young Nice discovered her. Nice, seeing her condition, invited her to experience the outside world. After this flashback, Kaneko provides Nice with Hajime's location, and he and his friends set out to find her. Hajime then remembers that during her escape from facultas, Nice was shot, which triggered her berserker minimum. Art identifies this as the nihilist minimum, capable of erasing other minimums, just as Nice arrives to rescue her. At the minimum agency, Dr. grows increasingly worried about Freemum's activities and says he wants to control minimum holders. Meanwhile, the test subjects from the basement where Hajime was held are being transferred to a hospital. Honey and Three head to the Nowhere Cafe to recruit Nice and the others to act in a production of The Tale of the Bamboo Cutter to entertain the orphans Three cares for. Hajime is cast as Princess Kaguya, while the others compete for the male lead. Ratio, Birthday, and Murasaki fail to impress, but Nice makes Hajime smile. Meanwhile, Freeman plans to turn Art into a symbol for minimum holders and take control of Yokohama. Meanwhile, Doctor intends to wreak havoc by killing all minimum holders. 3 ends up getting the role of taking Kaguya away in the play, but this makes Nice remember Hajim's painful past at Facultas. Nice unexpectedly takes her hand, bringing joy to everyone. Later, as Birthday and Ratio discuss Nice's change in attitude, Birthday begins to experience symptoms of the illness that once nearly killed him, and later, Nice discovers a letter from Hajime addressed to him. Nice and his friends are shocked to find a farewell letter from Hajime, seeing which they begin searching for her. Meanwhile, Ratio continues his search for a minimum holder who can heal Birthday, who is now in the hospital. He finds Chiyu in a car and takes her to the hospital, realizing she has lost her minimum. Nice and Murasaki receive a call from Momoka, who leads them to a bomb set to detonate alongside someone important to them. Ah, yes, the classic evil guy strategy. They manage to defuse the bomb and save Master. Momoka then reveals 2 other hostages, Kameko, who is at Nowhere Cafe, and Hajime, who is with Freeman. Nice and Murasaki split up to rescue them, and Nice runs into Ratio, whose target, the healing holder, is under Freeman's control. Momoka forces Nice and Ratio to fight, with the promise that the victor will achieve their goal. Nice wins but refuses to kill Ratio, and Momoka leaves the 2 behind, just as Murasaki arrives as Freemium leaves and takes Hajime with them. In a flashback, a young Nice talks with Art and Art's younger brother, Skill, about their dream of seeing Yokohama from a particular building. In the present, Nice and Murasaki confront Master, asking why he previously gave them Hajime's location. Master reveals he was once part of the Minimum Agency and believed Hajime was too dangerous to be left alive due to her powers. He had promised to protect her and left the agency with another test subject, Honey. Meanwhile, Freeman launches a rebellion to take control of Yokohama. Ishigami and his group face the Minimum Agency, led by Doctor. Despite Freeman gaining the upper hand, Honey and 3 step in to intervene. However, as Freeman appears victorious, Art begins killing most of them, including Ishigami, as he was merely using them to gather more minimum holders. Momoka then releases Hajime, who goes to meet Nice. Nice and Murasaki try to stop Art, but Nice's minimum causes his body to deteriorate again. Art stabs Nice, intending to shock Hajime and activate her nihilist minimum. This time, Hajime's power spreads across a large part of Yokohama, and Art breaks down in tears, feeling relieved that he has finally achieved his goal. Took this guy 11 episodes to finally get a holy W. In a flashback of Nice, Art, and Skill during their time at Facultas, when Skill was confirmed to have the potential to develop a minimum, he disappeared from his friends' lives. Art later discovers that Facultas was forcing Skill to use his minimum to grant others minimum abilities, regardless of the harm it caused. Distressed, Skill begged Art to kill him, which Art did, though he suppressed the memory until Moral nearly killed him. Momoka later revealed to Art that Skill wasn't entirely dead when they met up again. At the present, Momoka, tired of the world, commits suicide, and it's also revealed that Nice survived Art's earlier attack. Of course he did. He's the protagonist with his super powerful plot armor. Enraged by what Art did to Hajime, Nice confronts him, and during their battle, Skill's presence appears, using his minimum to restore everyone's lost abilities. After being defeated, Art tries to commit suicide by jumping from the building. The following day, Nice, Murasaki, and Hajime visit Skill's grave and are met by Art. Nice punches him, warning that if he tries to take his own life again, he will kill him. Later, Nice and his friends celebrate Art's return to Nowhere Cafe. Thanks for joining us on today's journey. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button, subscribe for more, and hit the bell to stay updated for more amazing stories.